My name is Plalas and welcome to Indie Bits, the show where I give my first impressions on new indie games. In Dwarfheim, you play as a clan of dwarves that must protect themselves from troll invasions and other dwarf clans, but you won't get anywhere without learning to coordinate with your own teammates. This game is an RTS inspired by classic franchises like Age of Empires, StarCraft and Warcraft, meaning that your main goal is to gather resources, use them to build your base and create an army strong enough to defeat your enemy. But like I mentioned, this game relies heavily in team coordination, and that's because every team has three very different roles to fulfill. First is the builder, which is in charge of harvesting simple resources like food and wood, building structures like houses to increase the amount of units you can train, or defensive walls and towers. It is also in charge of a very important mechanic that's ale. You can turn gathered crops into bulls that's used to buff your allied units in a bunch of different ways. I can finally make use of my years of experience as an alcoholic. Yay! Then there is the miner. Aside from the surface level, there is an underground section to every map, where miners mostly operate. Their job is to mine different ores and create complex conveyor belt systems to sort the minerals and forge them into useful materials. They are also in charge of creating offensive siege units that are useful against enemy structures. Lastly, there is the warrior, who is of course in charge of giving hacks to everyone. Nah, they're in charge of murder. They train new units and control the army that will attack the enemy base, but they can also kill neutral enemy camps that provide more resources and gain control of certain map points that give bonuses to the team. I should mention that each role has their own unique hero units that you can choose from that have special stats and passive abilities. And there are a bunch of different game modes to play, like Conquest, that's a classic versus of 3 against 3 other players, and Survival, where 3 players survive waves of neutral enemy units for a set amount of time. In general, I think Dwarfheim is really cool. It is clear how it was inspired by other RTS games, but it has so much personality to stand on its own. The teamwork idea works great, and each role feels super unique and interesting to play. And I like how... Wait, guys? Do you drink too much ale? Actually, this is not unexpected, since as I posted in this video, this game is releasing in early access, meaning that you may run into some issues, and it is clear that it still lacks a good amount of polish. But if you like what you see and you would like to see the game's progression, it is definitely playable already. Because of this, on my should you try it scale, I give it a score of worth a shot.